Morning, everyone. As you all know, a large part of this channel is devoted to narcissistic abuse, detecting a narcissist, detecting their tactics, so you know what you're up against and potentially how to deal with it. But a question does arise. What type of narcissist? Because there are many types beyond the two major categories of overt and covert. What specific type of narcissist is the most dangerous? Which one can do the most damage? What is the hardest one to essentially call out and expose? Because for one, they're the most deluded. Well, that would be the sociopathic narcissist or the narcissistic sociopath. Two words, both mean the same thing. And in this video, I'm going to discuss 10 signs of a narcissistic sociopath, so you can know when you're dealing with one potentially. So in order to be classified a narcissistic sociopath, the individual in question must meet the DSM criteria for both antisocial personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder. So this person will exhibit, I think it's at least 5 of the criteria, but it's around 5, but they'll exhibit the signs for both. That makes this person extremely dangerous, and they are ones who love power and control, don't take no for an answer, and love exploiting and getting over on people, and they often view people as property, similar to borderlines, but believe it or not, they're worse. So 10 signs of a narcissistic sociopath. Sign number 1 is they live in a deluded reality. A narcissistic sociopath is almost completely cut off from reality. They view themselves always as the center of attention, which is pretty, common for narcissists in general. But they take it a step further. Their distorted vision of reality makes them feel that they're entitled to whatever they want. So anything they lay claim for, they believe that they are entitled to it, no matter, the absurdity of them obtaining the thing, or even person, if the person's not interested in them. They think, everybody wants to be with them. They're the greatest. They are the center of the universe. Everybody wants to be with them. Everybody wants to be them. And they can have whatever they want, and they're entitled to it with no repercussions. Their actions have no repercussions. They see themselves as completely detached and above all of societal rules. Huge megalomaniacs. So yes, deluded sense of reality. Number 2, they are obsessed with power and control. Narcissistic sociopaths are often cult leaders. A potential well-known example of a narcissistic sociopath, and this isn't my opinion, this is the opinion of Mike Render and people who knew this individual for decades, and I'm of course talking about David Miscavige, the chairman of the board of the Religious Technology Center of Scientology. Mike Render, Marty Rathman, people who work with him closely, other longtime Scientologists like Aaron Levin Smith, who knew him a bit, and others that knew him well, like Mark Headley, have all pretty much said the same thing independently of each other. They essentially called him the Tony Montana of Scientology. So they're obsessed with power and control. But not just powers in like I wield power and I have control. I mean completely micromanaging the aspects of everybody's life that they can bend to their will. Like every single action they feel that they're entitled to control, and there's never enough power. They never have enough control, and they love to use this control to humiliate and exploit others for the slightest transgression against them, because in their mind, again, they are perfect, omnipotent, and all-knowing. 3, they take advantage and use others. To a narcissistic sociopath, people are just a means to an end. They are a way for them to get what they want, whatever it may be. They are, as I said in other videos, they are pawns on a chessboard. So to a narcissistic sociopath, if they use somebody, like, because they're good liars, narcissistic sociopaths know how to turn on the charm from time to time. A lot of them are drawn into professions that, give them that opportunity to pretend to be somebody else. A lot of narcissistic sociopaths are drawn to acting because they can sucker people in to their, their web of lies and control, because people will often fall for a fictional character that they portray. And the narcissistic sociopath will then try to exhibit aspects of that character's personality when getting their new targets. They're narcissistic sociopaths are born liars, they're pathological liars, and they can easily pretend to be something they're not, especially if they're professionally trained to do that for a living. So that's often a very useful tactic to them. But they take advantage of others to get what they want. They use people, they lie to people, they make false promises, and as you'll see in a later point, they get bored and discard people easily and feel no empathy, no remorse, even if they completely destroy that person's life, because they serve their purpose to the narcissistic sociopath. And the target should feel honored that they were even in the presence of such greatness. 4, they have no moral boundaries. There's nothing that's off the table for the narcissistic sociopath. Even some narcissists, there's certain lines they won't cross. I mean, they're really out there, but for a narcissistic sociopath, nothing is off the table. Nothing is a bridge too far. Nothing is over the line. They will do anything, no matter how low, no matter how degrading, just to get what they want. There is absolutely nothing that they won't do. They are very emotionally manipulative. They will use anyone, no matter how sweet a person, how honest, how innocent, how pure. They will use anyone to get whatever they want in that moment. They'll destroy somebody's life just to achieve what they want for that evening. Wink, wink. Hi, algorithm. Yeah. So, you get my, get that? Yeah. So, they're often sadistic, and meaning they have no moral boundaries. They have no qualms about doing things that are illegal in any way either. And I mean, they'll do anything to get what they want. I'm trying not to say the word, use your intuition. I have to be more intuitive on this channel now, because, it's not just swear words YouTube doesn't want. It's anything that potentially questions any status quo or anything that talks about tough subjects that people may be seeking videos to help recover from. But apparently recovering from abuse is bad, because if the abuse is part of a status quo, I guess that's good. I don't really understand this new algorithm, as you can clearly see by my views. Okay. 5, while the narcissistic sociopath is a skilled liar, they have a limited range of emotions. So there's only so many emotions they can fake. They're very good at doing it, but you'll notice when they're trying to manipulate a new target, they only have a handful of emotions that they can actively mimic, to a very good and believable way. But you'll notice that it's like, wait a minute, why are they doing this instead of this? Why can't they react to this, but they can react to that? Because they have no emotions, to be honest, because they're sociopaths, and their ability to mimic certain emotions is limited to within that range. So that's something you need to look out for, because there'll be more in-depth emotional feelings that they won't be able to mimic, and they will mimic the best they can using the most related emotion that they are able to mimic. You'll notice, basically they only have a handful of bag of tricks when it comes to faking an emotion. So be aware, if they can only fake like 5 different emotions, no matter what the situation, yeah, something to watch out for. 6, they have a huge discard pile. So the narcissistic sociopath will have a lot of people that hate them, because they discard people very, very easily, and usually relatively quickly. So you will notice, when you're getting to know someone, get to know their past, that there is a large number of people who rightfully hate this person, and are essentially all saying the same thing. Very important to pay attention to. If everybody's saying the same thing independently of each other, that's an established pattern of behavior, and you should watch out for. No, you cannot save them. No, it's not going to be different that time. It's like, well, they used and discarded the last 20 people they were in a relationship with, but it's going to be different this time because platitudes? No, it's not. Yeah, it's not. So be aware of that. 7, they become very hostile when threatened. You are not allowed to question the narcissistic sociopath at all. The slightest bit of questioning their motives, their integrity that they don't have, their morals that they don't have, basically questioning them in any way that makes them seem less than perfect, they will become extremely hostile and extremely aggressive. So that's an important sign to note for when you think you're dealing with a narcissistic sociopath. They can't take any form of criticism, no matter how wrong or outrageous they are. Like a narcissistic sociopath could be like blind drunk and simply telling them that, like, hey, you know, you had too much to drink, they'll lose it because no, I don't, I can, I'm different, I can handle it, and you know, nobody can handle it the way I can. They can do anything better. They can drink more, jump higher, run faster, lift more weight. They're the best looking. You get the picture. 8, they feed off of negative energy. And this is a key point. They feed off of negative energy. So when they're exploiting somebody, when they're making somebody do something they don't want to do, when they're putting someone in a situation where they feel they can't say no, and they know that person like wants to get out of that situation but doesn't know how, can't stand up for themselves, they get off on that. That recharges them. That recharges them in the same way that alone time recharges an INFJ like me. Be aware of that. If you, a narcissistic sociopath will thrive when the people around them are experiencing negative energy. The more the people around them are miserable, but yet still subservient to the narcissistic sociopath, the happier they are. Like David Miscavige locking all of his senior executives like Ray Midoff and Heber Jensen, all that, in the SP Hall. They're miserable. They're essentially under house arrest, but they are completely subservient to his will, and he loves it. Yes, that's why the Aftermath Foundation is so useful to help people escape the Sea Org and escape David Miscavige. So, quick little note, everybody should support the Aftermath Foundation. You know, Aaron Smith-Levin, who is the vice president of it, speaks about it all the time on his channel, Growing Up in Scientology. You should go check out his channel. He's far better at this YouTube stuff than I am. And, you know, he helps way more people than I do. So, check out his channel. And buy an SP bracelet. They're pretty cool when they Scientologists don't like them. I'm ordering one. I'll show it off when I get it. Number 9, they get bored easily. I alluded to this one. So even if you are giving the narcissistic sociopath exactly what they want all the time, no matter what you want, you've completely become their slave, they're still going to cast you aside and discard you relatively quickly because they get bored easy. You know, they're like a little kid that they get a new toy. They want that new toy more than anything. But then after a couple weeks, there's a newer toy they want. And now the one that they wanted so bad, wanted more than anything, you know, they just cast it aside because they want a new one. That's all you'll ever be to a narcissistic sociopath. The toy that they want, that they feel they own, that, you know, they are essentially obsessed with for a brief window of time until they want a new toy. They will never care about you because they are incapable of it. 10, the biggest point. They are empty inside. The narcissistic sociopath has no emotions, has no dreams, has nothing that drives them other than getting what they want that quickly in the short term. It's all about, you know, instant gratification and their delusions of grandeur about being the best at everything, because no one can be better than them at anything, even if it's something they're not, you know, familiar with. Like, like if a well-known, famous narcissistic sociopath, you know, and I crossed paths and I spoke about firefighting, they would tell me how they're, you know, better at firefighting than me, even though they never were trained to do that job and I was. So that's another example, but they're empty inside. They feel nothing for no one, ever, and they only want what they want, and they'll do whatever they will. They'll do anything to get it without any qualms or any moral hang-ups in anything. So this is 10 signs of why the narcissistic sociopath is the most dangerous type of narcissist that exists. And hopefully these 10 signs will make you aware of when you're possibly in the presence of one and to get away as quickly as possible. I hope this video is helpful and informative. Please like and subscribe, support the channel because YouTube doesn't like me, and, you know, help spread these videos if they help, because I feel they help, and that's why I do this, to help others. And, you know, I was doing a lot better on this until the new rules kicked in, to be honest, and kind of makes me sad that YouTube doesn't want, you know, videos like this to be known at all, even if I be good and watch my language, which for an Italian American like me is not the easiest thing to do. So please support the channel and help it grow. Remember, trust your intuition. If you think you're dealing with a narcissistic sociopath, look out for things like limited range of emotions and, you know, can they accept any criticism at all? Trust your intuition. If you think they can't, then it's time to get away from that person. And remember, they have no integrity. And even if you completely sell yours out to please them, it'll mean nothing. You're just a short-term toy, and you will be discarded relatively quickly without any remorse or any empathy for them completely destroying you. In fact, that will feed them. That's negative energy, and they get off on that.